Okay, so thank you very much for tuning in. I just wanted to show you how to set up custom paper sizes in Lightroom for printing onto the new Fotospeed square paper. I've done a video before about using the panoramic paper that Fotospeed produce, which is excellent and I use a lot. But now they've produced this excellent square paper in 12" by 12" and also 8" by 8" sizes. I thought I'd just do a video specifically for those. So as you can see, when you go into the print module here in Lightroom and put a square image onto a normal A4 or A3, A2 piece of paper, obviously you're going to end up with a lot of wastage, and that's the reason behind producing this square paper, so that we don't have to trim down our paper anymore. We'll have a perfect shape paper for our square images, and a lot of us really like producing square images from our cameras, especially as many cameras now have a square shooting mode. Those who use Hasselblads have always had square shooting, but a lot of modern DSLRs and mirrorless cameras and so on will actually allow us to shoot square and visualize the framing in camera. And this means we're often producing a lot more square images than we used to. So here I've got a square image that I took up in the Hebrides on Harrison Lewis about a year ago, and I was just wanting to print it today, and I'm going to output it onto the Fotospeed square platinum etching paper because it's quite a soft image, gentle tones to it. Thought I'd see how it would come out on the platinum etching and just see how it worked. And so what we do is we go over here in the print module, first of all onto page setup, and click that. Brings up the normal page setup button. Now normally what we would do is just go into all of the page sizes that are available for us there. Now this is alright if you want to use A3 or A4 paper, A2 paper, and we can just select whatever size we want, whether we want borderless printing or standard A2 printing with a border. But of course we've not been provided with a square paper size here. These are all standard sizes. So what we need to do is go down to the bottom of the menu to manage custom sizes. Click that and it brings up this dialog box here. You can see here that I've added in some custom sizes already. You can see that I've been testing already today, and I've already created some custom sizes. In fact, I'm just going to delete one of them there. Okay, and you can see there's my panoramic ones here that I've created. So you can see that I've got different ones listed there. So if we want to create a new one, first of all, click the plus symbol there. And you'll see that it puts a whole load of figures into these boxes, but don't worry about that at the moment. And where it says Untitled, just double click it and give it a name that means something to you. In this case, I'm just going to call it 12 by 12 because I've already got one called Fotospeed 12 by 12. And that's just for me to differentiate it. You'll probably want to use something like Fotospeed 12 by 12 or Fotospeed 12 by 12 square paper or something along those lines. It doesn't really matter as long as it means something to you, and press the enter button and that just gives it a name. And then here in these two boxes at the top, now I've already gone onto Google and asked Google the question, what is 12 inches in millimeters? And exactly 12 inches is 304.8 millimeters. Now we don't have to worry about being as precise as that. So 305 millimeters is actually fine. So I've put in 305 by 305 and put in the millimeters symbol. And then here I'm just going to put in 0 for all of the margins. So just highlight it, just type in 0 and tab out of the boxes, and you'll see that it puts the millimeter symbol in for you. Okay, and you'll see I've got user defined in this box here. Whoops, because I clicked on that to show you, it's just taken the 305 out of the boxes there. So just put 305 back in. There you go. Once you've done all that, just click OK. We're back to this. You'll see now my paper size, it has got 12 by 12 selected, and you'll see it says 305 by 305 millimeters. Because it's square paper, it doesn't matter which way round these orientation buttons go. That would be important if it was landscape or portrait paper orientation, but because it's square, it's irrelevant which way up it goes, because it's the same both way around. And click the OK button, and you'll notice straight away that we have a square piece of paper in front of us. But you'll notice at the moment the margins are all wrong, and that's because it was previously set at the moment as it was previously a rectangular page, and it's remembered some of the margins from the previous setting. So all you need to do now is just adjust some of these margins here up on the right hand side, and you can just set these to how you want. And also you've got this keep square button, so if you push that, tick this box here, that will force the cell size to go square. And so when you move these two sliders, you'll see that the image stays square there. And so now what you see is what you get on the piece of paper. So make sure that all these margins are zeroed, and then when you move these about, then the image will be perfectly centered on the piece of paper, and you can get as close as you want to the edges, and you can move in and out and just position it where you want. I like to have a bit of a white border around my images. I don't really like it going right to the edge. I think it looks ugly. As well, if I'm putting my blind stamp on the page, then I need to allow room down here in the bottom right hand corner for my blind stamp. Now in that situation, I would take the keep square button off, and I would move the bottom margin up to allow me enough room for me to put my blind artist stamp in here, and so then I would have mismatched borders, but that is something I need to do, and it might also affect what I then want to do on the width as well, if I feel that aesthetically it's not too pleasing. So I might make some adjustments there as well, and that's just something you do by eye. Once you get a look that you're happy with, then it's ideal to create a template. So let me just go back to a square image, zero all my margins, get a look that I like. Let's say I'm really happy with that on the 12 by 12, then I would click the template browser, create new preset, and I might call it 12 by 12 Fotospeed square or something like that. Click create, and you'll see now that it's in my templates here. If I click off it and go to another template, then anytime I'm doing a square image and I want it on the 12 by 12 paper, all I have to do is click straight on the template, and it'll immediately pick up the paper size correctly. Don't have to go into the paper size ever again, and it will also place it perfectly just as I like it on the paper. And then I can click on any square image and it will put it straight on the paper for me, exactly where I want it, and I can just go to print then, and it makes it so much easier. This is what I find very, very easy about printing from Lightroom as opposed to printing from Photoshop. I find it so much simpler to work like this, and so I know many people that are used to Photoshop much prefer printing from Photoshop. Personally, I find it much easier to print from Lightroom, and so for me that's where I work. I really like this. What you see is what you get, and being able to use the templates here on the left hand side, and hopefully that's proved useful for you. Just to give you the dimensions for the template size, if you're wondering at this moment what 8 by 8 is in millimeters, what you need to add is 203 millimeters. It's actually 203.2, but once again, the 0.2 is not really necessary. It's too minimal an amount to worry about. So 203 millimeters, and that'll be fine for the 8x8 Fotospeed square paper when you're making smaller square images. Okay, so hopefully that's been useful to you, and I hope you enjoy using the square paper from Fotospeed. They currently make it in 3 types: the platinum etching, which is the beautiful matte paper that's recommended by Charlie Waite. They also do the platinum baryta paper. I use that a lot for printing my black and white images. You get rich, deep blacks with that, and also for very tricky colour images where I'm having trouble getting the colours quite right. It's got a much wider colour gamut. Excellent paper, always have plenty of that in stock. Use that a fair bit. Once you get it under glass, under a frame, you can't really tell that it's a luster paper. And they also have a paper which I've not printed on before, and I'm going to do some tests on. Their PF Luster 275, which is a pigment friendly paper. So I'm looking forward to testing that. I've got some of that now in stock. So I'm interested to see how that performs. It's a paper I've not used before, so I can't really comment on what it's like as a paper to print on, but I'm excited to give that a try, and it may be a paper that I use in future. Okay, so hopefully you've enjoyed reading the blog as well, where I'm making some comments on my experiments with the paper, and you'll find that on my website. Bye-bye.